Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
I am Isani Keretano. Morning.
Morning, Isani, and happy Monday.
Good morning and
How
happy
you
Monday
doing?
too. I'm good, man. I'm great, actually.
Unusual being here with you starting off the week. I'll admit, I know April will be here with you guys on Monday, but I'm so happy for you guys to welcome me in. If you never welcome me, I just say you welcome me on a Monday. How are you?
Man, I'm okay. You know, for some reason, I'm beginning to feel the September vibe.
That's
Now that we
good.
crossed the mid-August hump, that September energy done the wrong the bend already. And it's coming fast.
So I'll tell you, right? I normally start feel it when I say, the decorations coming out.
Yeah.
When I say the overpass lights, the night and stuff like that. So I will admit, I not quite there yet were you there, but I'm also not a city person. So maybe that's one of the reasons why.
Fair enough. Yes.
But it's a gloomy Monday morning. If you're looking outside, you can see that it leaves overcast.
Not really me cool this morning when I left home a few minutes ago and I looked up to make sure that everything was okay. Yeah, it's a very ordinary Monday morning if you ask me. Hot,
that's not the problem.
Cold.
My Monday morning, that's not always your Monday morning. And so for me, I'm looking outside and I'm thinking, it might be a rainy Monday. Again, I know we experienced some showers over the weekend as well, at least in my neck of the woods.
And from where I'm standing here, a little sliver of sunlight. So
okay. We'll take it. The blessings are promised from the Lord that the day will be a good day.
Preach,
we want to thank you guys.
Man,
we want to thank you guys for joining us as always as you start your morning right. Whatever your routine is, if you're just getting that cup of coffee, if you just open your eye, and you're waking up now and you're about to start getting ready. We're so thankful that you guys have always decided to include us in your routine. Let me show you what we have lined up for you in terms of conversations over here. We're going to start things off with breaking down the trade deal. That's what we're calling this one. What does the partial scope agreement mean for you? We'll be joined by Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Minister Marconi Leal, to break that down. And then later on, built in Belize, loved worldwide. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Marie Sharp celebrates 45 years. And then finally, as Isani mentioned, he's starting to feel a little bit of the September festivities, the September, feels. And so we have to talk about from history to heritage, gearing up for September 10th. I'll send things over to Isani now.
All right. Excellent job, Sab. Guys, here are the 5 things you need to know before you leave your homes this morning. All right. Mother Nature's creation stole the spotlight at the 2026 Carnival King and Queen. We're going to be talking about their performance, of course, and all the other groups that participated. All right, so next, SpeedNet acquisition is off the table, but we're asking, will unions still protest tomorrow? That's a conversation we're also going to be having a little later on. All right, so Kaylee Rose West is crowned Miss Universe Belize 2026. Congratulations to Kaylee Rose West. And of course, it's a big week for us here at GBM. It is CBU Awards Week, and GBM leads all nominations in virtually all categories. All right, so we're going to be talking about that as well. And of course, KTV Remix Season 8 is winding down. We're down to 4 remaining contestants, and right now we're waiting to see who will emerge on top at the end of the show, Sab.
Yes. I know a lot of people are looking forward to Tuesday, but what comes before Tuesday is Monday. So let's sit with us and, enjoy what we have lined up for you guys this morning. excuse me, I just want to do my usual roll call. You guys know around this time, a couple of our loyals, they trickle in online on Facebook and on YouTube. So I want to say a happy Monday to Samson Jacobs at the top of the list, Francisco Madrid as well. Good morning to you, Janelle Treheki. Good morning, Michelle. It's nice seeing you online. Esther, good morning to you as well. Wilbert Zelaya, all of our usual loyal fans, we appreciate when you lock in with us and share your thoughts in the comments section. We have loads to talk about. But before we get into that, I need to know, Isani, how was your weekend? You had a lot planned over the weekend.
I always have lots to do on the weekend. Hey, but I'll start off by shouting out our friends at the Belize City Council, shouting out our friends at Beltrade, and of course our friends from the tax department, right? This weekend, Saturday, man, Belizean people, downtown, was amazing.
Yeah.
Right, so we had the super sale. It coincided with the GST-free weekend for stationaries and back-to-school supplies. And of course, Beltrade had its MSME Roadshow going on as well. So that entire stretch of Albert Street, I want to say almost from end to end, right? That comprises a downtown area. People, food, drinks, entertainment, and of course, items are on sale. So while there was only 12.5% on stationaries and back-to-school supplies, there were also deals going on with all the merchants and vendors along that stretch, right? And I never really gonna buy anything, I'll admit, right? I left that to my family who went out from very early to steal some of those deals, right? But being out there and meeting and greeting Belizean people, having conversations with them, was quite an interesting experience, right? You meet people from all walks of life. So you have some people who you may not have seen for years, and you just run into them and have these conversations and what have you. So yes, that was excellent. But the thing is, Saturday was a really jam-packed day, right? Because then you had King and Queen later on at night. You had all of these activities that were happening in and around Belize City. And like I was saying earlier, because you have all of these activities that are taking place, it now feels as if though we're going head on into the September celebrations, right?
Well, that makes sense now that you put it that way. I'll tell you, I was also in the city on Saturday. However, I make sure to never cross into that zone where you made it, because I knew parking would have been terrible to find. So it would have been smart to go as early as possible to secure a space for your vehicle. But aside from that, just the crowd, I anticipated a lot of people. But it's good that you enjoyed yourself. You say, you're going to do a little window shopping, you're going to take a little drank. Meet some of your friends and other people. That's wonderful. All right, so let's jump into what we have lined up.
All right, so as I was mentioning at the top of the 5 things, the Carnival King and Queen is one of those events that really kick off this whole festive season for us here in Belize. And on Saturday night, the Belize Civic Center came alive, right? With a lot of costumes, music and that raw energy that September is around the corner. And so you had all of these competing bands, and Mother Nature came out on top. Mother Nature's creations came out on top, right? I know we had a team out there. We had Disha and Shane who are covering that particular event. We'll have more of that in the newscast this evening, but I'm simply saying King and Queen are one thing I look forward to, right? You look forward to it because it precedes the mass camp, which then leads up to the Carnival Day, right? And so, like I said, once you know King and Queen, they come up, we don't know, all right, this is a jump-off point. Now, here's something interesting I was being told about the King and Queen event this year. You had some of the revelers and those who are participating in the event itself. Some of them were passing out. I don't know if it was exhaustion or, whatever else the case may have been.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was being told by people who were witnessing what was taking place, right?
And it's not
But-
from the heat, because I don't know that the Civic Center is hot, but maybe even the costumes too, though. They might be hot.
And heavy.
Yeah.
And the whole energy of anticipating this particular event. You know, some people are up all night,
That's
doing
true,
preparations and all of these other things. So it could have been exhaustion or any other number of things. But beyond that, I'm glad that it went for the most part without incident,
Yeah.
right? So that is Carnival King and Queen. Now, we now follow the direct order of our 5 things, right? Because next to this was the Miss Universe
Yeah.
Belize pageant being
Another
held.
queen being set to be crowned in San Pedro.
Yes.
Now, I have to say, Sani, there's a lot of people sharing their thoughts to this point, even on this pageant that was that took place over the weekend.
Yeah.
We know that I keep on calling it really pageant season, not the convention season and not pageant season, you know? So everybody to get
And
crowned.
carnival season.
And carnival season. And I know that a lot of people were anticipating the Miss Universe Belize pageant in particular one because of the nature of it. We know that
Yeah.
it saw a switch in the in the leadership.
And the
it saw a
location where it
switch in
was
the
held.
location where it was
Yes.
held, and even the time of it.
Yeah.
We didn't even know that we were going to have a pageant because we know that the actual Miss Universe is set to take place in November, which is just about 3 months away.
But we did, not without controversy.
Not without controversy. But before we do that, I have to say congratulations to Callie Rose West. She has been crowned Miss Universe Belize 2026. You guys met her on the couch here when she visited with some of her other delegates. But Isani, man, if you tuned in, there was a lot going on. One, a lot of people were complaining about the broadcasting of it. Apparently, there was a lot of pauses, a lot of disruption in the footage. But aside from that, I'll start off by just the backdrop. So, you know, we in the era of digital screens, right? Whenever they have their big pageants, you know, they got no banner no more. We got digital TVs behind us. And I don't know if we have a clip of that, but in one of the opening numbers, all the ladies were dancing on stage and they saw the Tikal archaeological site being a prominent figure, a prominent presentation in this backdrop, which for me, there's so many areas we could take that. But when
That's
think
a head scratcher. If I be honest and not beat around the bush, it's a head scratcher simply because, one, here we go. So it has changed hands to our friends over in El Salvador.
Yeah.
But we have a Belizean who's at the helm of it, right? We have
Destiny Wagner.
Destiny Wagner, right? How can you make such an error? I mean, hell, we got Shenantonich, we got Altonha, we got Lamanai, we got Nimliponit, Cerros Caracol, Santa Rita, you name it. And we got a Tikal? You mean nobody never vet this thing before they put it up on the screen?
And that's what a lot of people are asking. Was it because
And that's
of the time?
that's as legit as we can get with that.
But we don't. So that's the next thing. Like, we don't know what the level of involvement was for Destiny. We know that she was the director, so I imagine she
Yes.
was dealing with all the delegates and whatnot. So the putting together of the pageant, I don't know who was involved with that. And clearly, there needed to be more hands on deck, or maybe less, because it was not the best. People were talking about the Tikal issue first. Then people started making a huge issue because after the girls were shortlisted to the top 5, that later turned into a top 6.
So they add one more person in there.
And if you're familiar with pageants, you know that they would list them in no particular order.
Yeah.
So you don't know who in the top 5, them in the bottom score or whatever.
Yeah.
However, Callie Rose West was the last, if I'm to understand, to be called in that quote-unquote top 6, which we know does not exist.
Yeah.
And so people were saying, how is she in the top 6, which does not exist, and then shortlisted to top 3 and then win? Then turn out to actually win the competition. So a lot of
That's
people feel like
interesting.
there's, some type of hanky-panky, some type of funny business involved there.
Let's just say it's questionable. Let's just say it's questionable, right?
And then, of course, there are other people who felt that other contestants, we know that Samantha, she came in as first runner-up. Some people felt that other contestants were worthy of being also in that top 3. There's Vivian Morales. I believe she made it to the top 6, but that was as far as she went, or the top 5, if we want to call it that. Many people felt that Rena Thompson was deserving of being in the top 3, or at least the top 2. But ultimately, this is how it got, Isani. Whenever pageants take place, everybody get emotionally invested.
Fair enough. If we're to, I don't know, I'm trying to be as optimistic here, given all the fumbles that happened on Saturday night, right? At least we had our pageant. Because with the turnaround between when the Salvadorans took it over, appointing Destiny Wagner, and this, event Saturday ahead of November.
Yeah.
At least we had a pageant. I don't know. I left it at that. That's my open question.
I appreciate the optimism, but I think and of course this is nothing personal to Destiny. I think she's a lovely person, but I think if Kylie Rose's preparation leading up to the official international pageant is like what we saw on Saturday, that's not a good sign, because there needs to be preparation for this type of event. And so I wish them all the best. Ultimately, the pageant took place. All of these girls invested a lot of their time, a lot of their money even into that. And it takes a lot of courage. And so I just wish them all the best. But let's move on.
All right. So I was mentioning in the 5 things as well, it is a huge week for us here at GBM, right?
Yes, it is.
So we know that the annual General Assembly of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union is taking place in Georgetown, Guyana this week. Vice President Marlene Cuellar has left the building, right? And I was also mentioning that we lead this year in all the major categories. We have the most nominations this year, right? And I'm hoping and praying, because I know my newsroom, we put in the work, right? So I'm sincerely hoping and praying that we're able to, not only clean up, but make the country proud once again, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say this unequivocally, right? A lot of times the work that we do as journalists is overshadowed by everything else that's happening in this country, and respect to that. It's seldom about us, but more about the work that we do in providing information and educating our public. That's central to the whole thing. But to be recognized and to be honored for the work that we're putting in is always a warm feeling, right? But I also get this impression sometimes that we're not as recognized and as celebrated at home as we are outside of the country, right? And I'm being perfectly honest. I don't got no reason for not be forthright about that. Because for some reason, we're often pitted against our competitors and what have you. And there's nothing wrong with healthy competition. Absolutely nothing wrong with healthy competition. But at the same time, we should be able to recognize each other for the quality of the output, right? And I say that because I also recognize the work being done by other media houses that are not in the competition space that we are in with CBU. But on a day-to-day, you have reporters, cameramen, entire newsrooms that are working diligently to provide the information that Belizeans need, right? And so if I reflect on our coverage of the Mira Millions, if I reflect on our coverage of the recent proposed SpeedNet acquisition, and all of these other things that we do to keep our Belizean populace abreast of current events, the Belizean media pool, very small, right? I know everybody know me. I know who come and go, who they in for the long haul and everything. But again, I emphasize the fact that this is a labor of love for many of us who stay the course, right? And so I've transitioned out of active reporting, right? I now lead a newsroom, but my pride and joy is in seeing the quality of work that my reporters are doing, right? We don't always get it 100%. There are times when things get a bit difficult in terms of accessing information and all the vagaries that go along with this thing, right? But at the end of the day, I always sit as a proud, director to say, well, my newsroom is doing what it can with the resources that we have. in terms of being able to enlighten Belizeans.
Yeah,
All right, I'll get off from my soapbox. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
please, because it would slip wrong. But I'm kidding. You know, I completely resonate with that. And I think one of the things that you pointed out is worthy of reiterating. And that's the fact that it's such a small pool of people. And so we understand more than ever the level of workload, the level of sacrifice that's involved in the job. Many times, you know, these reporters, they're away from their homes, their families. When there are holidays, they have to go do certain coverages. When there are natural disasters, they have to also be out there covering what's taking place. And so more than ever, I think we understand the level of sacrifice, and I'm just hoping that we would bond together a bit more and acknowledge that. You know, you don't have to come from the same media house to acknowledge that level of respect that you might have for a particular journalist or reporter. But I'm sending my well wishes to everyone who has been nominated. I know for us here at GBM, the work started from the year before, I'll tell you, at least on my part, going about sifting through all of these entries that could potentially be used for, different stories in different categories. So I'm excited about it. I know that it's going to be a nail-biting moment when all of our reporters, they're hoping that their stories will be the winning one. But ultimately, I think for me, it's just hearing that it's Belize being called. GBM comes from Belize. And so that's something that we should wear with pride, that these journalists, these works coming out, they're coming from this part of the region. And the fact that we have been leading for such a long time is something worthy of celebrating and acknowledging. I know we have another media house here in Belize, I believe Channel 7. They also submitted some stories as well.
Yeah, my understanding is that there is one category that News Director Jules Vasquez has been nominated
Probably
for.
investigative?
No, it has to do with championing journalism, right? I can't remember the name of the exact category, but it's a pre-show award.
Oh, okay, got you.
Right? Yes.
All right. Well, good luck to everyone involved. Well, Isani, we do have another hot button topics to jump into, and I know that we kind of touched on it on Friday, the groundbreaking announcement that the cabinet did not support the BTL SpeedNet acquisition, and so we know that brings about many other questions, especially of what will be taking place tomorrow.
Well, the people of Belize, the unions, the business sector, right, all banded together to bring some good public pressure on this administration. And I think while there wasn't the meeting that was to have been held on Thursday with the NTUCB and the Chamber of Commerce with Cabinet, the Prime Minister thought better of it and decided to say, you know what, man, is that we standing off at this thing, right? Which I believe perhaps for many of us makes a lot of sense given the public opposition to this whole thing, right? When you look at it, we're still asking this question, very fundamental question. So we had all of these things that were planned leading up to tomorrow, because tomorrow, the 18th, would have been the day when Cabinet puts forward its position for or against this proposed acquisition. So as far as I am aware, and based on all the flyers that were circulating, all roads would have led to Belmopan tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? So there would have been this entire gathering of Belizeans who would descend on Belmopan in front of the Ednikian building to raise the objection to this whole thing. And I think in large part it would have been a measure of the popularity of this administration at this point. You know, Belizeans done kind of wary of a lot of things that are taking place under the current Briceño administration, right? So this probably might carry it over the hump, right?
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I will admit, Isani, when I saw the announcement, one of the things that I started thinking of was, do we think that there's a possibility that perhaps the municipal elections coming up was one of those influences to the cabinet reaching this point? It sets the pace for the level of popularity of the current administration, as you said, and perhaps it could have been risky.
The municipals, by and large, serve as sort of like a heat check, right? You want to know the temperature of your popularity, you test it at the municipal level, right? And so I'm almost certain that serious consideration was given to this whole thing as to whether this is the direction we really want to go. But even though they didn't go all the way there, public sentiment is still strong, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we're asking whether the unions are still mobilizing tomorrow. So nothing not really happened because the sale not going through, or so they say, right? Because the PUC still has to weigh in at this point, but Cabinet has pretty much said, you know what, we're not going to proceed with that. And that's because as far as we were covering this whole thing, there were a number of Cabinet ministers who weren't with the program, right? Julius Espat being one of them. We spoke with him by phone a few weeks back when this whole thing reared its ugly head once again. And he was unable to grant an interview because he was out sick. I understand he was suffering a bout of COVID. But he's saying my position never changed from the first go-round. So the first go-round being earlier this year when we began covering this whole thing, right? His position never changed. And you had several others who were steadfast in their position that, look, the Belizean people weren't really consulted in terms of coming up with this idea and rallying support to proceed with it.
Yeah.
Man say, hey, we don't really depend on that. So I could only imagine the conversations that were probably being held behind closed doors in Cabinet with people raising their own positions for or against this whole thing, right? But here we are. Tomorrow is another day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think I'm still anticipating that something may happen or may not happen. The unions are pretty much saying, well, look, check this out. All of the yes vote from the controversial board meeting that was held by the BTL Board of Directors a week or two ago need to be rescinded, right? That the way they're saying they have to take that back. Only so will we agree that this deal is dead.
Yeah. We know that we also saw a statement from SpeedNet sharing, their thoughts on...
Which is equally interesting,
Exactly.
Sab, because then it shifts the whole thing now, right? Because, here we go. The Public Utilities Commission, earlier this year as well, put out a paper in which it was essentially saying BTL has been the dominant force in the telecoms industry for the better part of the last 25 years, right? So now, since the sale won't proceed, SpeedNet has been switching up things and say, okay, well, fine, now level the playing field then, right? So if you're the dominant force in the industry for so long, allow us access, right? Like in the United States, I was having this conversation on Friday, very loosely, right? So it's not grounded in any specific parallel. I can put it that way there, right? The states you have what we call antitrust laws, right? That you have to open it up for proper competition. You can't have one big bull in the pen and nobody else can stand up to her, right? So you have certain regulations and laws in place to be able to prevent this kind of monopolistic activity or positions, right? But we're not there. I'm not saying that should happen here. All I'm saying is, look, these people are now saying, allow us access to certain services being provided by the dominant player, right?
So they're
allow us
talking
to bid
fair
for
tendering,
contracts.
yes.
Yeah, allow us to bid for some of the same contracts.
Removing
as opposed to
unfair
giving
surcharges
BTL. Yep.
as well. And it'll be interesting to see how the PUC responds to that. And I know that a lot of people have their thoughts about the PUC.
Well, the PUC put out a paper that BTL is the dominant force, right?
Yeah, but we've also been waiting on the PUC to share its thoughts through this entire process.
Yeah.
And we know it's been
the
so
word
quiet.
With them. Yeah, it's like pulling teeth.
But I have no doubt that this will be a conversation that we will continue to have. I think ultimately consumers stand to benefit when it comes to whatever playing field is leveled. Ultimately, prices will become a lot more competitive, and so people may be switching over. But if we think of Belizeans being the owners of BTL as well, that's another area that we might also have to consider because of the investments involved.
Someone said it's chess, not checkers, right?
It's definitely chess, not checkers. But Isani, we do have to close things off on our final topic of discussion. We are winding down on KTV, and I know that the only people more excited about KTV coming to its ending is probably the contestants. I mean, for whatever reason as well, you know.
We're virtually down to the final four.
Yeah, we are. And so this week is the final competition night. We know that the four will be competing on the stage in the genre of gospel. And then next week will be the finale where the winner will be chosen and ultimately revealed to the public. But it's perhaps one of those nail-biting moments because you have to give it your all this week.
Definitely.
You have to give it everything you got, and of course hope that your supporters, your fans, people who say you for win gal or you for win boy,
put in their vote.
will actually put in the vote. And so I encourage you guys to do so. This Tuesday is the final performance or competition performance night. And so if you haven't made it out to the show, I encourage you guys to do so. It's at the Belize Center for Performing Arts. Starts at 8 p.m. and the tickets are only $5. So make it a family event, you know. Come on out, bring your friends, bring your family, and come and listen to some amazing performances. What I also appreciate as we get to this part of the show as well, Isani, we get to see a bit more of the personal stories behind you know, these contestants that come on stage. And so I know we have our team going out and capturing some of those testimonials as well, them sharing a little bit of behind the curtain to who these contestants are, who these artists are. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yes.
But all the best to them. I know it's definitely nerve-wracking as we come to an end, but it's been an interesting season as well. And so kudos to everyone involved. Kudos to the entire production team as well for putting on the show week after week. The camera crew, the control crew, everyone involved in making KTV possible every single season. We see you guys, even if the crowd does not. We see the work that is involved, and we want to say congratulations to you guys as well. But we have to close off the show at this point, or this portion of the conversation at least. And now we're going to jump into our weather update brought to you by the folks from the National Met Service. Weather update brought to you by the folks from the Met Service. And today's weather calls for cloudy at times, becoming mostly cloudy this afternoon. A few showers and isolated thunderstorms will occur mostly over the south coast and offshore this morning. Activity will gradually increase and spread around the country this afternoon into tonight. Now for temperatures, coastal areas can expect highs of 87 degrees Fahrenheit, then dropping to a low of 80 degrees. Inland areas, you'll be experiencing a little bit warmer temperatures with highs of 92, then dropping to a low of 72. And in the hills, you guys can expect the most cooler temperatures, highs of 80, then dropping to a low of 62. Now for our extended forecast. For Tuesday through to Friday, for coastal and inland areas, you guys can expect highs of 88 for coastal areas and lows of 80. And this is on Thursday. Inland, highs of 93 and lows of 72. Wednesday, for coastal areas, highs of 89, dropping to a low of 82. For inland areas, highs of 95, that is, and dropping to a low of 74. For Thursday and Friday, very similar temperatures. Highs of 89, dropping to an 81, 88, dropping to an 80. That's for coastal areas. For inland on Thursday, highs of 95 and dropping to a 74. And then on Friday, a high of 94 and dropping to a 72. Now, our astronomical forecast. The sun rose this morning at 5:36 a.m. and will set at 6:17 p.m. The moon rise is at 10:01 a.m. and will set at 9:40 p.m. And the sea state is light chop to choppy with winds blowing from the east to northeast at 10 to 20 knots. Today's low tide will take place at 7:30 a.m. and a high tide at 1:17 p.m. However, another low tide will take place today at 7:16 p.m. and then tomorrow another high tide at 1:12 a.m. And that does it for our Eye on the Weather, brought to you by the folks from the National Met Service. I'll send things over to Isani now.
All right. Good job, Sab. Guys, when we come back, we begin our conversation and we're going to be discussing the partial scope agreement with El Salvador and what that means for us here in Belize. Stay tuned.
Stay connected in the USA for as low as $10. With Smart Roaming Data Pass, staying connected is simple and affordable. Get the data you need starting at 1,000 megabytes to stay connected to larger plans that keep you online while you travel across the USA. So you can message, browse, video call, and navigate wherever you go. No SIM swap, no bill shock. Just simple, affordable pricing. Activate easily by dialing *100# using the Smart app or online. Smart Roaming Data Pass. Staying connected the smart way. Smart, bringing people together.
Every dream begins with an opportunity, and every opportunity has the power to change a life. This year, Belize Bank proudly welcomes 16 outstanding new scholars during its 14th annual Scholarship Award ceremony, recognizing young Belizeans whose academic excellence, leadership, and determination inspire us all.
When I look around the room today, I see future entrepreneurs who will build businesses. I see future doctors who will heal families. I see engineers who will design infrastructure, teachers which will inspire the next generation.
For Belize Bank, a scholarship is more than financial assistance. It's a commitment to each student's future through guidance, encouragement, and mentorship from members of our management team. Today, we celebrate 16 new scholars, more than 250 lives transformed, one shared future. Because when we empower our youth, we empower our nation.
Belize is growing, and as our nation grows, so does the demand for electricity and new energy solutions. More homes, more businesses, more opportunities. BEL continues to strengthen the system that supports this growth, reinforcing infrastructure and solidifying capacity, preparing for what's ahead, ensuring reliable service for homes, for businesses, and for communities across Belize. Keeping the lights on every single day. Belize Electricity Limited, prepared for growth, prepared for Belize.
When your baby feels comfortable, you feel confident. Because every little moment deserves protection you can trust. Kushkin's diapers are designed with ultra-absorbent layers that lock in leaks while staying soft, dry, and gentle on delicate skin. So your baby can play freely and you can enjoy every smile without worry. Kushkin's diapers, comfort they feel, protection you trust. Kushkin's diapers and wipes are available countrywide at a supermarket near you.
And welcome back. Joining us for our first conversation this morning is the Minister of State for Foreign Trade, Marcon Leal. Good morning.
Good morning.
And he's accompanied by Tricia Gideon. She's the Deputy Director General in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're here this morning to discuss the recently signed partial scope agreement between Belize and El Salvador and getting a better understanding for the benefit of our viewers what this means for Belizeans. Let's start there.
Well, it's definitely a historic milestone for Belize. Of course, we've had a strong relationship with both countries for years and years, but this aligns with the government's goal of regional integration. And I think we've seen over the past few years how the global supply chain has been very uncertain. And for us, we definitely need to deepen our trade and expand our trade in the region because we need to diversify our exports. We need to be more innovative with the products that we want to export across. And at the same time, we also need to look at how we can reduce the cost of living by offering some preferential rates to products that are being produced nearby to the Belizean people. So that's the overarching goal of what we were trying to achieve: expand export, reduce the cost of living. But at the same time, there's so many elements of this agreement that we incorporated. It's one of, we have agreement with Guatemala, we have agreement with Mexico. They're not recently updated agreements, but we cite fitting that we do this trade agreement with El Salvador because of the benefits that it could generate.
Let's step back just for a second here. So many of us have heard partial scope agreement with Guatemala, now with El Salvador, but perhaps a clear definition of what that means and the parameters of the agreement would help to enlighten the Belizean public as to why these are important.
I'll do it in layman terms, and I'll have Tricia get a little bit more technical with it.
I'm sure our laymans will appreciate it. Our laymen.
A partial scope agreement is basically offering a country preferential rates. So while we want to access their market, we want to see where there is the opportunity to not have to pay duty to reduce our pricing and our competitiveness. So the biggest case in this point for us in El Salvador is Marie Sharp. Marie Sharp is being exported to El Salvador. It's over 1,000 cases a month. But how competitive are they, and what percentage of the market share do they have? So now Marie Sharp immediately gets the opportunity to be able to export at a lower price. Whether they use that reduction, whether it's a 10% or 20% for enhanced marketing, whether it's reduced the pricing, they do their market intelligence. But it's basically the rates that you get preferential rates. And so the negotiation is basically, of course, we want preferential rates for a certain product, and that has been focused on agricultural products, but they also want preferential rates for the items that they produce and they would want to export to Belize. And so it's that's the long and short of it, but there's so many elements in addition to that in terms of how we deal with investment going forward, how we deal with knowledge sharing, how we deal with building technical capacity on both ends for what we are expertise on, whether in Belize or El Salvador. But I'll have Tricia answer the question, and maybe she could give a little more also.
Yes.
So thank you. So partial scope agreement is like what it says, it's very partial. It's a small amount of goods that will enter another country at a lower tariff, because all goods enter each country at a specific tariff. In Belize, we have tariffs about 0 to 100%. El Salvador have a different range. So it's allowing those small amount of goods to enter into El Salvador with either a 0% tariff or lower, maybe 5%, or maybe it was as high as 70, now we brought it down to 20%. So as the minister has indicated, so that when we sell the $250,000 worth of Marie Sharp that's going into El Salvador right now, we can sell even more because it's cheaper for that consumer as well. So it was looking at both the consumer and the producer, what we are producing and what the consumer can consume cheaply.
Without getting into the minutiae, what are some of the items that we're now going to have access to from El Salvador in terms of their exports?
So we got 276 lines into El Salvador compared to Guatemala, where I think it's about 70 plus lines we have between the two countries, and El Salvador will get about 422 lines into our country. However, we will get live chicken, live beef, live sheep, we'll get beef cuts, we'll get honey, we'll get beans, we'll get onions, we'll get corn, we will be getting in our citrus juice. So we're getting in a lot of our agricultural products, which we had worked with the Ministry of Agriculture to look at the priority products so that we can ensure that whatever the government of Belize is focusing on, that we will be able to push those products into El Salvador, and vice versa. El Salvador is sending their manufacturing products because, as you know, pharmaceuticals and textiles is one of their strengths, and we import, one of our second top imports from El Salvador is like cough preparations, and we have a list of pharmaceutical products that we have gotten on that list that they can send to us at a lower rate.
Minister, signing an agreement is one thing, but I think putting it to action is another. Belize has continued to strive to break into different areas when it comes to export, but there's been expressed some challenges from businesses trying to export their goods, export their services. What are some of those challenges that this partial scope agreement will break when it comes to exporting into El Salvador?
Yeah, well, I think from the start, one of the things we wanted to ensure is that we hit the ground running, which is why if you saw the images, we invited the private sector. We wanted to ensure that the networking was there from the start, because in many cases you sign these agreements, but the private sector who actually gets the work done and transform this into jobs and into new economic activity for our people, that is the start. And that has always been one of the main challenges. And so after the signing, we ensured that we had a networking session. There were presentations with some of the Chamber of Commerce on our end, on their end. The Spanish Lookout Chamber was there also to ensure that they were able to communicate some of the key products that they have. But I think one of the big challenges is also the market intelligence. There's a producer in Belize, and whatever product that they're producing, they're challenged with, can I really survive in El Salvador? What is the export cost, the transportation cost? And so that's some of the discussion that we've been having internally. That's some of the business intelligence that we've already done. And so the different agencies within government will ensure that we know what are the key products that we want to export. We know some of the local producers, and it's now to further that conversation. But within this agreement, there's mechanisms in place to ensure that that networking continues. There's different committees that have been put in place to ensure that they meet regularly, and maybe Tricia can speak a little bit more about that.
So most agreements have provisions in place to have both parties convene, and so it's called the Administrative Commission, which would meet based on the agreed timeline. So either annually or by twice every 2 years. And that meeting is to discuss the challenges. You know, we'd like to send more corn, but we have this issue with one of our producers not being able to contact your competent authority to get the information. Can you help us? And then there's smaller committees that work on rules of origin, market access, other areas that address trade. That how can I fix it so we can send our product into that market? So I wanted to add to what Minister said in terms of the private sector. We also had key public sector entities that also attended, customs, the Ministry of Agriculture, again, so that they can meet their counterparts to discuss any issues that producers may have sending
How
their
about
products.
the supply that would be needed when we start exporting into a larger country like El Salvador with millions of people? Do we have everything that we need in the amount that we need it, or the volume that we need to supply to a market like that?
Yeah, that's one of the questions I asked Marie Sharp, because with the preferential rate that they'll be getting now, they definitely see the opportunity to increase. And so they will be having conversations with farmers based on their market, their forecast of what they could potentially grow. And so it's the private sector having those conversations, but for us at on the government side, it's for us to also plan at the Ministry of Agriculture and build the technical expertise. Going back to your question about some of the challenges that we have, it's also the standard. We talk about vegetables and fruits being able to export, but they also have to be at a certain standard. And so that is one of the things that we're going to be working on going forward. And I think the Ministry of Agriculture has been doing a really good job in terms of looking at the different opportunities that we have to export and looking at how we can enhance the standard for real export.
So here's an honest question from the perspective of the everyman, because people who watch right now want to know if, based on this new arrangement, and we're going to be able to import certain items in perhaps at a lower cost, if that translates to the overall cost of living and the expenses that we're incurring based on other items that we're bringing into this country?
It definitely should. It definitely should. I think Tricia mentioned the number being 422. These are 422 products that we are getting some of these products from super far. Now if Salvador is producing it, El Salvador is producing it, they get the preferential rate. So it's for our local importers to then take the opportunity. And we were discussing internally to have conversations with them to do the presentations to them. And we have done these presentations before this agreement was signed, but it's now the vital step is now to do that again, to ensure that they are keenly aware of the products that they can import from El Salvador that could mean direct impact to every Belizean across the country. And Tricia mentioned packaging material, she mentioned pharmaceuticals.
Textiles.
We know the textile, the high cost associated with some of those, but it depends on the private sector and the margins, if they will pass on that margin, if they will reduce the price to try to gain market share. And so it depends on them a lot. From the policy standpoint, our role is to get this PSA in place, properly ventilate it, let everyone be aware of it. And the hope is that it then translate into reduced pricing for the Belizean people for these products.
How do partial scope agreements like these strengthen bilateral relations and perhaps diplomacy between countries?
It definitely strengthens it. The conversations that we've been having, and the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs would tell you that this wasn't just let's put a document together and let's sign it. It's been years of negotiation. It's been years of lobbying. Tricia, when I joined the ministry, she used to fight for one or two products, or her basket of products that she were doing in the different segments used to be, we're not getting this product versus that product. And so from a networking standpoint alone, having these conversations, we're trying to get it across the hurdle. And then there's also the element of, we signed on to the Treaty of Tragoramos with CARICOM. And so CARICOM had to approve this. So the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, their engagement with Caribbean Prime Ministers and Minister of Foreign Affairs, and with El Salvador Prime Minister and Minister, there had to be a lot of engagement for proper negotiation to take place to ensure that there was a balance between the products and services that we were getting versus what we were giving up, to ensure that there is direct benefits to our Belizean people.
How does it work for a farmer or business owner tuning in right now that might be interested, or who might be interested in sending their products to El Salvador? Is there like a list available that they can see if they stand to benefit from that? And if that checks out, what does that process look like? The paperwork that you need to go through, the certification that you need to go through to meet that requirement?
So I'll answer that one. So we are actually working right now at the ministry to finalize an export guide to ensure that there's a standard way in which we can give information. Because each entity has different information, and what we found, it was frustrating business. So the first step, if you want to export to El Salvador, you will indicate to us, send us an email, or call us and indicate this is a product. For example, I'd like to import cough medicine. Now, we are not the experts in classifying goods, and what does that mean? That each good has a number attached to it when you trade, and customs is responsible to ensure that you get the correct number attached to that product. So we will do preliminary investigation and say, well, I think it's in this chapter, I think it's this number, but we need to confirm with customs. So let's set up a meeting with customs for them to tour your facilities to ensure that the product that you want to send is the product we have codified correctly, right? Afterwards, they will also interact with other agencies such as the Ministry of Health. So it depends on the product, because each agency interaction will be different. They'll interact with the Ministry of Health that will give them more information about how they must go about doing it, what paperwork they need as well on their end. They will contact their counterparts there. They will also indicate who they will be importing to, because El Salvador would need to provide the import requirements for that product to ensure that they meet it on our end, and customs will be with them most of the way, ensuring that they fill out the correct paperwork with them.
It's interesting when I
It's a tedious process.
Yes.
When I reflect on this entire thing, though, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, if we now are able to export livestock to El Salvador, but then there's a huge demand for livestock going north to Mexico, do we have enough
For both.
cows to satisfy both countries and the demand for that? And I'm also thinking chickens, because we don't really, as far as I'm aware, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, we don't really export chicken like that, right? So maybe it would be something new for us to, be able to send live chickens to El Salvador. But my question hinges around the fact that how do we satisfy this demand for cattle and livestock for both of these countries?
It's definitely something that has been discussed, but the market determines that.
Yeah.
Whether we're getting better prices in Mexico because it's right across the border that we hand over versus having to transport it through Guatemala all the way to El Salvador. There have been conversation last week while we were in Salvador with some of the producers. Do we send the finished product? Do we make the investment here so that the transportation cost is reduced?
So you're talking like value added, if that's the case?
Value added versus just sending like we do today across the border in Mexico. So those are some of the conversations that we're having to ensure that we can really take advantage. And people would say, yeah, but you guys have been discussing this for years and years. We talk about value added, but it's something that from the ministry side we're really honing into, because we want an agreement that translates into actual impact. Not something that just sits there and we meet every 6 months and we have discussions around different items and challenges that we're having. We want to be able to say 5 years from now that we were able to increase the export to El Salvador by 300%, by 500%, because there were some quick wins and there were some things that took years, but now we're penetrating the market and actually having impact.
In the absence of representatives from the business sector here with us this morning, what was their position or feedback in terms of this experience and being able to perhaps have the one-on-one conversations in El Salvador regarding these new changes?
I think we can both answer that, so I'll have Tricia start.
Well, from my conversation with them there, we asked from the persons who had prepared value-added products to primary products. They were very happy. One person said, we're not usually happy at what government does, but we are excited about this partial scope agreement because it's a new market to send certain commodities that we've had challenges in other markets, and we think that we'd get a better price for our product here. Also, we have been importing from this market, but now we can import more because the price will be better. Others where we didn't get the initial deal, but tomorrow we're going to be meeting with this person, and we hope that they will give us the information that we need, because they also had an opportunity to meet with their association, export association, and their counterpart Beltrade, their export promotion investment agency, that would assist them in identifying more buyers and people who would be willing to engage them. So it was a very positive engagement. They are aware that certain goods may take some time, and when I just want to go back to that comment you made about whether there's supply. When we do a lot of consultations, and we know a lot of these commodities are not ready to sell tomorrow. But once you have the incentive there and the price as mentioned, it gives them an opportunity to start investing, and government to collaborate more closely with them to get them off the ground. So I think it's that excitement to move things along to a neighbor.
I think my short add to that would be that they were on the ground way in advance before us, before this signing. They saw this as an opportunity not to be at a signing, but also to start to do their market studies. So I sat with one producer who was telling me that we met with this chain of retailers, we met with these wholesalers, we've been discussing whether they've already started doing their market study. And a big conversation that we've been having also is, while we had a small delegation go there, it's how do we have those who are interested to export to Belize, that we have a delegation from El Salvador also come, because that will also support us with who are the producers there that are really interested in exporting to Belize, which would be immediate benefits to our people because they would be getting a lower price. So those were the conversations we were having to support the private sector.
You spoke earlier about being a part of CARICOM and having to get approval because of the Treaty of Chaguaramas. But what I want to also highlight is the opportunity that we are now taking advantage of being a part of SICA. You mentioned earlier Belize exporting in Mexico, having us now getting this opportunity through the partial scope agreement to export and import and build that relationship with El Salvador. What does this say about us taking advantage of being a part of SICA? And do we see ourselves tapping into other countries in Central America as well?
Definitely, it's a big opportunity for regional integration. COVID taught us that we need to have regional integration if it is that we're going to optimize the opportunities that we have for importing the right products at the right price and the challenges we could potentially have because of the high transportation costs, the challenges with just the proximity. So regional integration is at the top of how we move forward. There's a thin line between how we negotiate that, how we communicate that, how we do everything. Because our CARICOM brothers and sisters are looking at us to ensure that they are prioritized. But at the same time, we need to look out for the best interests of the Belizean people, of which we try to balance both. And so we go from there.
Well, as we wind down the conversation, you mentioned earlier, Mr. Leal, the years and years that it took to get to this moment. I want us to reflect on that and think a year from now. What do we expect to see in terms of tangible results from this partial scope agreement 1 year from now on August 17th or 18th? 2027.
I expect more trade. I expect there'll be more networking, more contacts. I expect that we will be importing more of our key products that we are already importing from the world, but primarily now from El Salvador. Yeah. So that's what I expect on the ground, more trade.
All right.
I think the same. We know we like to say that inflation is imported, which is a true thing in many cases if we would look at the numbers. And so this is an opportunity for us, for the products that are being produced in El Salvador, that we reduce the cost, we reduce inflation. And so the hope is that a year from now, we significantly increase the almost $30 million that is being imported from El Salvador, that we increase that, not just with an increase, but within products that we will be able to see a reduced price on the shelf in Belize. Yeah. And at the same time, we have many of our producers who are significantly investing in their capacity. And so the hope is that we have created an avenue for them to export to a market with low transportation costs, and that we're doing what it is within the ministry from a policy standpoint to put the framework and mechanisms in place for them to be successful. We want this to translate, I don't know if a year from now, but in very soon proximity, that it translates into more jobs for our people, higher skill jobs for our people, and that it benefits the Belizean people, whether it's our agro producers or the regular or all Belizeans who buy products from on the shelves.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to break this down for us in layman terms. We appreciate it. We congratulate your delegation as well that traveled to El Salvador, and we hope to hear further success stories of this agreement as well. We wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we have to take a quick break now, but don't go anywhere. Earlier in the morning, Sani mentioned that he's feeling a bit of the September celebrations, and so I'm looking forward to this next conversation. When we come back, from history to heritage, gearing up for the September 10th celebrations, and perhaps a bit of the story of why we celebrate it.
Introducing BB Insurance, built for Belize. Your security, our priority.
6 things one morning. In Belize, that's usually a whole week of asking around. Find It 501 is a directory of every business in Belize. Every district, every category, hardware to hear to what's happening this weekend. Done before noon.
6 businesses got found this morning. Is yours on Find It 501?
Insurance fact. Did you know with Home Protector Insurance, home and property insurance does not only cover hurricane and fire? Your lifetime investment will also be protected from explosions, water damage, malicious damage, and more. So you can rest easy knowing your home is protected. Visit any Home Protector Insurance office near you to learn more.
The next station is not just a place, it's the vacation capital of the world. Mexican Caribbean, the vacation capital.
We at Fulltech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Fulltech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy Inc. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price and stay for the service.
My name is Iseni Verde. I am 33 years old and I am a housewife in the beautiful village of Sardaneja. My day starts early, preparing breakfast, sending my kids to school, and taking care of my home. But before, something as simple as water made every day harder. I had to wake up and go fetch well water just to bathe, wash dishes, and clean. Tap water was too salty. It would burn my children's eyes, leave their hair stiff. Even our spoons and pots would rust. Many times, I had to use my extra money to buy purified water for drinking and cooking. When I heard about the new water system, I felt hope, but also doubt, because we had had promises before. Still, I wanted to believe this could be a new beginning. Right there at my fingertips. I just need to open the faucet and I can enjoy a clean glass of water to quench my thirst. My children can bathe comfortably. We can cook, clean, live without worrying. I have more time now. Time I used to spend fetching water, now I spend it with my kids. This change has positively affected my life and the lives of my community. Having reliable water means healthier lives for everyone. It's not only a new water system, but hope and confidence that things can change for good.
The Ministry of Rural Transformation continues to work with communities like Sardaneja, transforming lives and strengthening communities across Belize.
Good morning and welcome back. We are jumping into our next conversation, and as we mentioned, it's from history to heritage. Gearing up for the September 10th festivities, and as I also mentioned, I think it's worthy of also touching on the story that has us celebrate this event as well. We're joined this morning by representatives of the St. George's Key Day Society. We have here with us Vice Chair Sheena Pitts. We also have with us committee member Sharon Pitts and Treasurer.
Former chairperson and chairperson emeritus, and also public relations person.
Okay.
Thank you.
As well, Treasurer Samson Jacobs. Thank you guys so much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, man. Having you guys, the committee on set with us, now I really feel, Asani, like we are like we're ushering in the September celebrations. I want to get a quick overview of what the St. George's Key Day Society Committee seeks to put together on an annual basis. What's your responsibility?
Well, generally, and from the moment of the inception of a group like this, our objective is to preserve the Battle of St. George's Key and to ensure that the country is appreciative of that is the definitive moment that contributes to us being Belize and Belizean. And so every year we seek to commemorate that battle with a 10th parade march. And this year, I am happy to say that we have expanded our reach for inclusion and invited stakeholders far and wide to be a part of the parade. So essentially, we're about preserving the history and celebrating the history unreservedly.
What does the history tell us? Go ahead.
Go ahead. If I may, the St. George's Key Day Society did not just come out of nowhere. If you go into the well-recorded history of Belize, you will know that. Actually, I'll invite you to visit the history of Imperial Spain, which was defeated decisively in the Battle of St. George's Key. I will invite you to read, find out from the government and the archives where is the history of the Battle of St. George's Key from Spain's account, which was contributed back to the country of Belize. So we'll go to the horse's mouth. You will go into the battle, and a Spanish armada led by Captain General of Yucatan, Arturo O'Neill, an Irish name, and he had under him Boca Negra. You will read Vergara Solis Molina out of Yucatan, Mexico. You will read the British accounts. You will read Jamaica. Of course, you will read Belize. And of course, our oral history recorded. You will read Fairweather Stephen Flowers. You will read the Jesuits, who normally present themselves as apologists for Spain. I'm saying it on a historical basis. The point is that in the very, back in the days when you had theaters of war, it was a sea battle, the historian or diarist would be on each of the lead ships. So the diarist of the Spanish Armada, he was prescient. He foretold, the defeated wrote, and it can be retrieved, that 10th September will be a memorable day. And it was memorable for them for their defeat. And of course, it goes and courses through our veins for a victory at the Battle of St. George's Key. It stands within the world as an example, apart from maybe Haiti with Toussaint Louverture, Belize, the settlement in the bay, the alliance which was not expected but it had happened before, of black men, free men, enslaved men, and the so-called masters, who together, and the lesson for us today is like that. When you come together and you defend Belize, no foreign enemy or invader. What I'm saying is 10th September is a memorable day for that, and our predecessors, who I'll trace through history. You have naturally you win a battle, you'll celebrate. There's history to that. In 1898, at the centenary of the Battle of St. George's Key, in April, and by proclamation official, it was decided in anticipation of this celebration that a meeting would be held, and it was held at Riverside Hall. And people from all walks of life united in the determination. And it was that the 9th of September was by resolution, 9th and 10th of September in the centenary year were put forward to be celebrated for the 10th of September. We have Simon Lamb, who was born, if I remember, in 1833. And he again at about the age of 60 determined and was resolved that we should have 10th of September Day celebrated and parade. In 1962, or 3 if I remember rightly, Honorable Philip Stanley Wilberforce Golson, again almost single-handedly, was determined because of what he saw to go into the Legislative Assembly, and he presented a motion which would have been defeated due to politics. But back then, the population of Belize, I believe, would have been under 100,000. He, in short term, got 10,000 signatures, and Horace Young supported his motion. Coming forward, and just reflecting back, the original 1898 committee self-described itself as the Committee of 40. It was official. You actually had a Henry Charles Usher speaking back then, and Isles and so on. You know, people who was of leadership, but as well you had the populist Simon Lamb and so on. So that Committee of 40 later on went to, you had Loyal and Patriotic Order of the Baymen, and I'll just quick through this. Then you had another revival of a Committee of 40, and then following on that, the St. George's Key Day Society.
Allow me to interject.
Thanks for your patience.
No. You're right. So here's my question though. With all of these facts being laid bare as to what transpired in 1798 and to where we are today, why has there been a concerted effort to either dismiss or diminish the weight of what actually took place then?
Have you intuited or guessed as to why? Because it would be interesting.
Oh, I said that politics, right?
It's worse than politics.
It's worse than politics.
Can I speak?
Sure, go ahead.
The Battle of St. George's Key, that so-called myth, surfaced in 1946. And it came directly from the regime to the west of Belize's sovereign borders. If you understand that, you will
West of us is
understand
Guatemala?
everything, the regime to the west. During September, I mentioned Belize and our sovereignty and British Honduras and the settlement of the Bay, and I am focused on that. What I'm saying is, you look at it, read through the history, and you will see it's not coincidence, right? And when you go back into that and you come forward, you will understand. You want to deny a people's history. You want to derail a country which has defeated you in war. What do you go to? You go to the history. So you wage a war of attrition, and your agents and conspirators become the people who are too busy drink rum. May always in our history. Want to drink rum? You want gossip? A man could say he's a diplomat from Aurelia, and he manages to see a government minister in Belize and be on the, and we take it for joke. We must be like, I don't know if I quote the Bible too good, I'm not the best, I'm not a card-carrying Methodist, but then put up with me, right? But basically, in the Bible it tells you if you're going into war, when the kings of old were picking who they would take in, the army is being starved, they're without water, you come to an oasis, right? And you watch how the people react. They would be soulless. There will be some who will go and they will lap up with both hands to quench their thirst. You not pick them there. You pick the one there where I have one at the hand at the ready and whatever. And the Battle of St. George's Key, you know, it's a case study for Sandhurst. Sorry, I'll let the others speak. Sandhurst.
We're talking the Royal Academy of Sandhurst.
Yes.
Tom Greenwood presented at Central Bank, at Flowers Bank one year for us and told us, the Pocono boys sick, make we get it out of the way, right? Pork and Dough boys, it was also the Battle of the Pork and Dough boys, right? Pork and Dough boy is a war feature that is of Congolese origin. It was presented at Kwanzaa in San Diego last December. In addition, for those who would want to decry, right? But you had all the features of war, and I really will stop, but I just want to share this.
It's interesting.
Take the
I'm totally
indigenous found materials of Belize. You know the Pocono boy? It's tensile, so it's plentiful. You sharpen that into spears. You fire the end, it becomes of iron strength. And you can fly it in the air, so you don't have to wait till the approaching invader comes close to you. So it's spectacular warfare. And it has a cruel side that rains terror into any invader. Because if you came by land and you came up into that wall of defense, which was covered in the thick Pocono boy patches, one lee one would have prick you. But when they spare the day, you get impaled. And if you were coming as they were, the foreign invaders against the people, the inhabitants here, their muskets were fashioned as such that you had to fire them, and they had a tendency to blow up. So when you're coming with muskets and firing, hand-to-hand, mano, the one thing. But you know what you're come for with? Something will meet you first, right?
Yeah.
And those who would come behind, it rained fear, terror, and retreat in their hearts when they saw people, well, whoever would have been the enemy, impale enemy that outside of Belize, right? Anybody outside. We want Belize.
I appreciate so much the history that we are getting right now.
Yes.
And I know that there are many other people tuning in right now that's also enjoying this conversation. But we do want to focus now on what will be taking place for the 10th celebrations here.
Before we get there, let me read something for you. And Sharon will give you the context and the historical background upon which this was said. As our day approaches and we sing our songs and make our music and our bards receive new inspiration for their verse, and we join in our demonstration and enthusiasm mount and the tumult and the shoutings rise, and we play our games and dance and disport ourselves and feast, and our national pride rises and swell in our bosoms, there are bystanders out of sympathy with our joys and our jubilations, scoffing at our pride, at our hopes and aspirations as a people, tending or pretending to doubt the historicity of the Battle of St. George's Key and the authenticity of the story of the Baymen. They dare to challenge us with various questions, some indeed pertinent and proper, others as gratuitously offensive as they are impertinent and impudent. In derision, they ask, what have we indeed to commemorate and celebrate? We have to celebrate and to commemorate that most glorious episode on 1798, in which a century and a half of struggle culminated, the Battle of St. George's Key. But what is the Battle of St. George's Key? Is it a myth? The passage of time, centuries, is required for the collection of cobwebs of myth? No. St. George's Key cannot be characterized as a myth. Is it a legend, a story of doubtful certainty resting for its acceptance on popular belief? No. It rests its claim on much firmer ground than tradition. Is it fiction? The invention of some lively and ingenious imagination? As yet, British Honduras has produced no novelist. Is it romance with a kernel of truth, but the elements of daring and heroism exaggerated into fantastic and impractical? Or is it a deliberate and intentional falsehood calculated to deceive? Is it a lie? If it is a lie, then Captain Moss of His Majesty's Merlin, who organized and led the defense, lied in his dispatches. If it is a lie, then Colonel Barrow, His Majesty's Superintendent in 1798, lied in his dispatches to the Secretary of State. If it is a lie, Sir Hyde Parker, the Vice Admiral of West Indian Station at the time, lied in his dispatches to the Admiralty. If it is a lie, the Earl of Balcarres, the then governor of Jamaica, lied. If it is a lie, the public meeting of 1799, which voted to Captain Moss a sword of the value of 100 guineas in appreciation of his service, acted a lie. If it is a lie, Captain Moss, in accepting on his part and in his turn, acted a lie. If it is a lie, the archives of British Honduras lie, and the archives of the Colonial Office and the Foreign Office lie. If it is a lie, the indelible inscription on the tomb of the gallant Thomas Paslow, even now at Yarborough Cemetery, lies. One's mind is much exercised to comprehend the mental constitution of the person who conceives that there might have been in 1798 such a nefarious conspiracy of persons and the credulity of people 147 years after. No, St. George's Key
is no myth, no legend, and no fiction, no romance, no lie. The Battle of St. George's Key is as authentic as the Battle of Trafalgar, the Battle of Waterloo, or the Battle of El Alamein. And for my part, to the stranger, the craven and ignoble wretch who, accepting our hospitality, fails to discover any redeeming feature in our country or its people, and not content with abusing and speaking only to our disparagement, insinuates that the glorious history of our forebears is a myth or legend or fiction or romance or a lie, I shall manifest my unmistakable resentment and indignation. A resentment and indignation short perhaps of violence, but unmitigated by a oft-abused charity and undisguised by a wanted courtesy and civility. But why do we celebrate the Battle of St. George's Key? To have a gala day? There are days for festivals enough on the calendar. Is it to make a holiday? The number of national and religious occasions countenanced by the statute book precludes such an excuse. Then why do we celebrate the Battle of St. George's Key? Why do we speak of Trafalgar and Waterloo and sing the praises of the men who fought under Nelson and Wellington and Napoleon? Because we admire noble and heroic deeds wherever enacted, and brave and courageous men of every class, every nationality, and every age. How much more shall we not stand and honor our forebears, the baymen whose blood still courses through our veins, and to whom we owe our country, the flag, and all that it implies, our status, our freedom, the baymen whose story must ever inspire our pride and admiration. Move us to emulation and continue an enduring, never-failing source of noble inspiration to the sons and daughters of Belize. This was from an oratory delivered by Roderick Augustus Spitz in 1946, and this was his response. He also wrote, and I have here Shoulder to Shoulder, published in 1928 in British Honduras, as Belize then was.
Powerful words.
So we say 10th of September was about 1798, was about the battle and the flag as it then was. 21st September 1981 is still about the battle and the flag as it now is. Just let me share. On 10 September 1798, of that, the Baymen or the Battle of St. George's Key, my grandfather wrote a poem that has, and I'll share it because we tend to not want to present.
Yeah.
30 plus stanzas. I have toured as a teenager, and then again just before COVID, the USS Constitution, first in Baltimore and then in Boston Harbor. Oliver Wendell Holmes, a former Chief Justice of the US, wrote 4 stanzas to USS Constitution, referred to as Old Ironsides. That has a legend. It's the longest standing commission man of war or war vessel. It was in skirmishes, over 30 with the British. And the story is, the accounts, that the cannons used to be felt to bounce off the side of the ship, which was made of oak. And so it got the moniker or name Old Ironsides. If you go, all politicians and diplomats like to go hand in hand begging. Diplomatically, US, they have our neighbor to the north, United States of Mexico, friendly. Further to the north, United States of America. You go to Boston Harbor, right? You will find the church, Old North Church or something, and you will find the pew reserved. That's a historical reference. When you look at Battle of St. George, all the history there, the historical original references. You will see a pew reserved for gentlemen of the Bay.
I'll say this.
We voted to sell logwood and mahogany to help the U.S. freedom effort.
Yes.
I've never been
So there
this
is history.
enraptured in a history
Right.
lesson.
And let's move from history to what we're doing now.
Yes.
So this year, like I said, we extended to stakeholders far and wide to be a part of the celebrations. And for me, you know, as we both read from our grandfather's speech, I had co-seed. And so it is a reminder, especially now, when we are before the ICJ on our territorial claim, to really not establish, not quarrel for.
Those would have said, we don't have a territorial claim.
No.
There's an unfounded claim against the people
Right.
and country of Belize.
Language matters.
And I am saying this because of the island declaration, as my father used to remind me, Aye Chilean, that is short term. There's a long formal name, Norway and some other Scandinavian country, and diplomats were at a cocktail party. You as media, you have a responsibility, what you print, what you say out there, right? And they were discussing, one verse basically was, well, if you do not so and so, we will not make a stance against whatever the territory was, right? And later on, when that came up, when there was the particular countries were at a standoff, the diplomat was saying I was only cocktail talk, cocktail speech.
Yeah.
That's why I said diplomatic dilettantes and diplomatic doublespeak can get our country into diplomatic doodle. That case is locus classicus in law, that you have a responsibility, right? And
well, I have a
People listen more than they
responsibility at this
expect.
time, Ms. Pitch, to make the most of the time we have
Yes.
before my producer scolds me. And so I have to get Mr. Sampson in a
Yes,
conversation. Please tell us what we can expect for this year's 10th celebrations, and then we'll have to wrap things up after that.
So this year we're doing again the bicycle competition in honor of Tony Leslie and the late Everly Skin, because Everly Ski in Engleton, was our chair. And so we want to express condolences to her family.
Yes, absolutely.
We have tons of prizes, right? We have out our official flyer. We have a Facebook page too that you can follow. And so get those bicycles out, decorate them, join the 10th parade on 10th morning. The winner will be announced at the Belize City Council 10th Bram. So all prizes are cash prizes. And so we're encouraging the old and not so old, the young, the in-between to come and be a part of that bicycle
That's one of the
competition.
features of the 10th parade that I look forward to for sure. I know we've also highlighted that in our news through my Brightside feature as well. It brings out young and older as well, and I know that a lot of people, they want to see this event, you know, schools get involved even. I remember seeing the fire trucks also coming out as well. But beyond the 10th, We know that this is something that is also taught in schools as well. Samson, you are an educator as well, and so I imagine this is a part of our history that you as well ensure that you share with the next generation.
Within the schools, we teach Belizean studies, and so that is one of the content areas that we try to teach. I say try because it seems more like just a historical data that they present, and we don't go in depth with the information, and so we need to partner more with the Ministry of Education and those persons who write the Belizean studies curriculum to get more of those information in and from the primary straight up to the tertiary level.
All right. Well, we thank you guys so much for joining us and giving us a thorough history lesson. If you did not believe, I believe you should now. But we wish you guys, the committee, all the best, the society, that is, all the best. And we know that the work continues beyond the 10th as well. You continue to share knowledge with people who should understand the history of Belize. This is a part of our history. We wish you guys all the best.
60 seconds for condolences. We lost this year Mrs. Leontine Lewis Gillette, a centenarian who was of the British Honduras Freedom Committee in New York and the St. George's Key Day Society. We also lost, in addition to Everly, Mrs. Alice Thompson, who was, both of them were Grand Marshals of the 10th September Parade. Miss Alice will be laid to rest this Friday in Belize, afternoon at Wesley. And my brother-in-law, don't get frightened, Senior Councilor Ernest Stain passed away as well. To condolences to Belize, to colleagues, and we feel for people, no?
Yeah.
Right?
Alrighty. Thank you very much for that, and we also extend our condolences. But we do have to take a quick break now. Don't go anywhere. Though when we come back, we'll be joined by some queens. We have the recent winners of the Miss Black International Ambassador joining us after the break.
Every business starts with a vision. And every day, Belizean entrepreneurs are turning that vision into reality.
Hi, I'm Rosalie, General Manager of Cards and Merchant Services at the Belize Bank. Today, I am proud to introduce our new solution designed specifically for Belize's small and medium-sized businesses.
Introducing the Belize Bank Advantage MasterCard SME Business Credit Card. Whether you're managing everyday expenses, purchasing inventory, or investing in growth, this card gives your business the flexibility to move forward with confidence. Applying is easy. Visit any Belize Bank branch and speak with one of our SME officers. We'll help you find a solution that best fits your business. Your business is building Belize's future. Let Belize Bank help power what's next.
Her phone, her laptop, her whole life in this apartment. If anything happens, it's more than just a loss. It's everything. RF&G Renters Insurance helps protect what matters most, even when you don't own the place.
Life moves fast. Your connection should keep up. Need more credit? More data? A flex bundle that fits your lifestyle? With Smart Prepaid, they're a prepaid option for every lifestyle and budget, making it easy to stay connected wherever you are. Because with Smart Prepaid, you can connect on your terms. Purchase credit, data, flex bundles, prepaid plans, and all your favorite prepaid services at any Smart agent, Smart showroom, or simply dial *100# key. No stress, no waiting. Just fast, easy, convenient ways to stay connected every day. Smart Prepaid. Connect on your terms.
Every dream begins with an opportunity, and every opportunity has the power to change a life. This year, Belize Bank proudly welcomes 16 outstanding new scholars during its 14th annual Scholarship Awards ceremony, recognizing young Belizeans whose academic excellence, leadership, and determination inspire us all.
When I look around the room today, I see future entrepreneurs who will build businesses. I see future doctors will heal families. I see engineers who will design infrastructure, teachers which will inspire the next generation.
For Belize Bank, a scholarship is more than financial assistance. It's a commitment to each student's future through guidance, encouragement, and mentorship from members of our management team. Today, we celebrate 16 new scholars, more than 250 lives transformed, one shared future. Because when we empower our youth, we empower our nation.
So it started off like any other summer day in Belize. I decided to go down to Builders Hardware since I heard they had 25% off on summer outdoor products. I got a couple of items, a chair, a grill, a cooler, and I got carried away, but the prices were so good. But anyways, I might have gotten comfortable, maybe too comfortable. Then I saw the news, man, the hurricane season was not playing with me. But thank God Builders also had 25% off hurricane preparedness items as well. Flashlights, batteries, sealant, first aid kits, everything I need. And guess what? My grill survived.
KTV The Remix Season 8 is bringing the heat every Tuesday night. Experience Belize's biggest singing competition live from the Bliss as your favorite contestants battle it out on stage with unforgettable performances. The show starts at 8 p.m. sharp, so don't be late. Get your tickets today at Greater Belize Media on Coney Drive or 88 Shopping Center and come be a part of the excitement. KTV The Remix Season 8, where Belize's next superstar takes the stage. See you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on GBM.
Life moves fast. Your connection should keep up. Need more credit? More data? A flex bundle that fits your lifestyle? With Smart Prepaid, they're a prepaid option for every lifestyle and budget, making it easy to stay connected wherever you are. Because with Smart Prepaid, you can connect on your terms. Purchase credit, data, flex bundles, prepaid plans, and all your favorite prepaid services at any Smart agent, Smart showroom, or simply dial *100 key. No stress, no waiting. Just fast, easy, convenient ways to stay connected every day. Smart Prepaid. Connect on your terms.
Final conversation this morning, but certainly not the least, we are joined by some beautiful ladies, the recent winners, the queens that walked away with plenty from the Black International Ambassador pageant that took place here in Belize, the very first time that Belize has hosted this pageant. We are joined this morning by different category winners here in this pageant. We have one of Belize's very own, Mariam Abdul Kawi. She is Ms. Black International Ambassador 2026. Can we get a quick wave? Congratulations.
Thank you, Sabrina.
And Miss Teen Black International 2026 is also a Belizean, Diancy Ram Clam. Good morning.
Good morning.
But we cannot forget to mention two other winners that also walked away. We have Miss Black International, Chloe Thompson. She comes from California. And also Christy Wells Smith. She is Mrs. Black International 2026, and she is from Texas or Houston. Ladies, congratulations again. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see that you ladies are a lot calmer now. At least Mariam and Diancy, I can imagine it's like, oh, it's over. The weight is off my shoulders.
Yes.
How are you guys feeling? It's been a lot, I imagine, putting into this pageant. We were just talking earlier about it being pageant season, and I know the weekend that just passed us, there were several pageants taking place, and this was definitely one to watch. And so I know that all eyes were on you ladies in your various categories, ultimately putting your best foot forward and walking away with this title. How does it feel, Mariam?
It feels amazing. I'm so grateful
I am extremely grateful. It's been a dream of mine to represent Belize on an international stage. This was an international pageant. So I didn't give it my 100%. I gave it my infinite percent. I gave everything I could on that stage because I know I wasn't representing myself. I was representing Belize. I was representing Alawi.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Belize, so, you know, I made sure to do my absolute best. And I just feel so grateful to not only have the opportunity to do that, but also to work with MBIA. It's an amazing organization, and it aligns with celebrating community leaders. So that's what I'm all about.
Just to make much of the time that we have, I'm going to ask different questions so we can get a comment and a different perspective from everyone. I want to go over to Ms. Christy Wells-Smith. You participated in the category of Mrs. And I think this is such an amazing category to have, because oftentimes when we think of pageants, or at least for me, I think that you kind of almost could age out of pageantry, or the minute you become a mom or a Mrs., it's kind of like, it's a thing of the past. But now we see that there's something for every woman.
Yes.
What does it mean for you, being a married woman, to also take part in this?
Yes, not only just being a married woman, but I'm also a grandmother.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's been an amazing experience. You should never let age just keep you from achieving your goals.
Yeah.
Right? I'm over 40 and I'm proud of it. So I want to represent women over 40 and let them know that the sky's the limit and you can do whatever you want to. Age doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to go over to the youngest, which is Teen BIA 2026, Ms. Ramklam Diancy. How about you? I believe you were one of the members for Belize that came in a little bit later on in the competition, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
What prompted you to make that decision when it was already started, basically?
I was glad to have the opportunity to represent my country, because I have this dream where I want to expand the business that my mom and I have, and that would have been a huge opportunity as well.
What's the business?
We have a food and frozen drinks business called Kelly's Creations in Lourdes Bank, and that was one of my dreams, as well as having the opportunity to show the young women of Belize that opportunities can go so far, and you have to have confidence, and I am glad that I got to show them that you can have confidence, you can do what you want, because I'm a sporty person. I wasn't even a pageant girl, but I got into it, and that didn't change who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just wanted the opportunity to inspire the young people of my country, as well as have the opportunity to expand my business.
I'll admit, when I saw the name of the pageant itself, Miss Black International, I thought, why does it have to be only for Black women? Or why do we have to separate ourselves? Why can't we all be included? Or why can't all shades of women or ethnicities of women be included? I want to ask you that question, Miss Chloe Thompson, why you decided to take part in a pageant that was specifically organized or designed for you, a woman of color?
I believe that all women of color deserve a space and deserve an area where they can thrive, and it's made for them. I feel a lot of times, especially in the US, people of color are discriminated against as well, and finding those spaces for you to thrive and for you to succeed are a lot harder. So being a part of an organization that is made for you and made for you to succeed and wants to see you succeed and helps you grow within your work. And one of my biggest thing is I'm very big on community service, and a lot of the community service spaces, it's hard for me to see myself within them. And so being a part of this pageant, I'm surrounded by women who look like me and are doing things like me. And that was something that was really inspiring to me. So that's why I wanted to be a part of it, for sure.
So the big question is, what happens now? You're wearing these beautiful crowns. I'm told they're super heavy, real. But what happens after you get the title? What happens after you get the crown?
So basically right now we're going to be moving forward in a meeting with the organization about the year ahead. We will be traveling, we will be doing community service. Actually today we have a community service project that we're gonna go to Belmopan and do. So it's like we are hitting the ground running, honey. We do not have time to breathe, we don't have time to sneeze, we have time to smile and just keep it moving, because the organization is focused on community leadership and being a change agent. So we go in and we create positive upliftment and change in the communities that we're in around us. So we'll be doing that in Belize, and we'll be doing that hopefully in Ghana.
Oh,
Yes.
Ooh, tell us about Ghana. Why Ghana specifically?
Yes, so with my title, I was representing Ghana because I am a queen mother out there in a village called the He-Man Village, and we do a lot of work in Ghana with working with youth, as well as installing water pumps and bathroom facilities in different schools that don't have access to clean water. And actively in that village that I am a queen mother in, we're building a creative arts center so youth have access to creative resources. So of course, I want to make sure that I bring my girls with me to Ghana so that they can experience the wonders of Africa, but also be able to do some great community service work out there as well.
What is a queen mother?
So a queen mother, so there's the chief of a village, right? And so then he has like his board, essentially, is a better way of explaining it. And so I get to sit next to the chief on his board of developmental.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank
I mean,
you.
if you guys need any help, I can do a lot of things. Just tell me what to do, girl. I got you. But I can imagine this is really exciting. You know, it's a year of adventure ahead, and work that I imagine you guys were dedicated to doing even before this title. And when this year is final, you'll continue doing this as well. Again, a huge congratulations to you guys. I'm sure, though, that there are businesses and people who supported this event that you would like to pay respects to before we close things off.
Yes, of course. So we have to thank our biggest sponsors. We have to thank Jabi for their support. We also have to thank Burnbox for their beautiful apparel for our fitness category in our pageant. They were beautiful, amazing, and very comfortable. We also have to thank Biltmore, Best Western Belize. They were one of our biggest sponsors this year. The staff is amazing. They made our stay there. We were living there for a week, right, ladies? They made our stay there extremely comfortable. So we'd like to thank the staff there as well. And then also Special Envoy and Mrs. Briseño as well. They were assisted us with getting donations when we did the STEAM program with the girls earlier this week. So thank you so much to all our sponsors, those mentioned and those not mentioned. We really do appreciate everyone's support and the Belizean people for coming out Saturday and supporting this very amazing pageant and organization.
Alrighty. Well, ladies, thank you for making that courageous step and taking part in this pageant and being a part of this history as well. I think for us here in Belize, we have a sense of pride in a lot of things, and this is definitely one of them. Seeing our very own, carrying this title now for the first time, hosting it here in our country. We invite you ladies back, and even bring some of those work here in our country as well. I know that you guys will be busy, but we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. All right, we are going to take our final break now, and when we come back, we wrap things up. Don't go anywhere.
Her laptop, her whole life in this apartment. If anything happens, it's more than just a loss. It's everything. RF&D Renters Insurance helps protect what matters most, even when you don't own the place.
Here's how to access your contribution history on the My Social Security portal. First, go to your browser and type ssbportal.org.bz. Enter your email and password, then click Log In. Once logged in, you'll see your full portal account on the screen. On the left-hand side, you'll notice a drop-down menu for added features. Click on History. Choose Contributions. Read the disclaimer, then click Continue. You'll now see a full window displaying your contribution history. In the table, each row represents a different year. For example, let's look at the year 2024. Click on the row and a detailed breakdown will appear. This breakdown includes your employer's name, your earnings for each month and week, contribution type, the amounts paid, and that's how you can explore the new contribution feature on the My Social Security portal. It's quick, easy, and keeps your Social Security information right at your fingertips. Create your account today.
Before our grid reached across Belize, it was built by generations of Belizeans committed to connecting communities and powering progress. Through the hands, the dedication, and the vision of our people, the grid grew with Belize. A nation built through strength and resilience, and a network built pole by pole. Today, that responsibility continues, strengthened by every hand that follows, each generation building on the last and carrying forward a shared responsibility, serving communities, powering schools, hospitals, businesses, and homes, supporting a nation that continues to grow. Belize Electricity Limited, built to serve, serving Belize.
When I install an AC system, I recommend Ream from Belize. Unlike inferior units that drive up electricity costs, restrict yard flow, and wear out quickly, Ream has the right solution for every space. With a wide range of options, I can choose the right Ream system to keep every customer cool, comfortable, and satisfied. Because at Belize, quality is saving.
Best for you and best for me. At Benny's, it's the quality. Benny's, quality and saving.
KTV The Remix Season 8 is bringing the heat every Tuesday night. Experience Belize's biggest singing competition live from the Bliss as your favorite contestants battle it out on stage with unforgettable performances. The show starts at 8 p.m. sharp, so don't be late. Get your tickets today at Greater Belize Media on Coney Drive or 88 Shopping Center and come be a part of the excitement. KTV The Remix Season 8, where Belize's next superstar takes the stage. See you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on GBM.
Welcome back. We are wrapping things up at this time, and it has been a wonderful conversation, Isani. I have to say thank you to everyone who joined us. We covered a lot of bases. We had a deep dive in history.
Yes.
We learned about the future of trade and economy and importing and exporting here in Belize and the possibilities that exist with this recent partial scope agreement with El Salvador. And of course, we're even celebrating pageantry, beauty queens as well from the Miss Black International. And so really, again, thank you to all of our guests who joined us and you guys for locking in with us, staying engaged as well. It is August 17th, and if anyone is celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you guys. If you'd like to send a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oie@greaterbelize.com. You can also catch us on our social media pages. We have Facebook, that's Open Your Eyes BZ. Instagram for behind the scenes contents, that's OIE Belize. We even have TikTok, that's openyoureyes.bz. And then you can call us or text us on our OIE phone number. That's 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Until then, be sure to keep your eyes, your mind,
And your hearts open.
Have a wonderful Monday. Happy Monday. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Then we'll catch you guys tomorrow again. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.